Welcome to Episode 4 of Hearts of Iron, a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign set in the Broken Empire. In this episode, we conclude the adventure The Sea Demon's Gold, available from Arc Dream Publishing. I'm Shane Ivey, the Dungeon Master. The players are Mark Finn of the Monty Haul Zine as human rogue Baldo Vandalerius, Chris Spivey of Darker Hue Studios as Wood Elf Ranger Thalus Longbarrow, Aser Tolentino of the Redacted Files podcast as human fighter Astartus, and Megan Tolentino of the Redacted Files podcast as the dwarf cleric Key. So last time your gang left the Temple of the Sea Demon all bloody and wounded and battered and exhausted, and rested on shore, then got cleaned up and changed clothes, I presume, and sharpened your weapons and decided to limp back in there and finish exploring this accursed place. And I say limp because a couple of you still do have lingering injuries, I think, that you're...
Yes, we are
or
still...
at least Baldo does. I'm not
Baldo's
sure.
Baldo's walking wounded, that's right.
Yeah, so... But Baldo, do remember to if I remember to penalize you for that, take that inspiration for it being a flaw. And so
okay, very good.
I may forget that part. So all right. So you've come back into the temple the next day. The next I don't know. I think it's like late. It was afternoon by the time you actually set out with it needing so much time to recuperate and not be sick anymore, at least one of you, for eating the wrong things. And
I'm right here.
You're I'm being diplomatic. And you've begun your exploration again. So coming in, the environment doesn't seem to have changed much. It's still nasty, it still smells, everything feels a little too moist and interested in your being there. The huge crabs that you fought and killed in that initial cavern are kind of, one of them is sort of in pieces, and the other one there's just some shells laying around, but you don't see the rest of it.
Okay.
And so as you set out kind of, gingerly through the dimness of these weird pulsing corridors, things, there's noises in the distance still, occasionally weird sounds, but things are quiet other than that.
Before we enter the Mudman's house, his little cave in his area, I'm going to look at my companions and put my finger to my lips and go, let's try not to pick him up if at all possible. And so saying, I am going to attempt to stealth through his area, making no sound that would disturb him in his puddle of goo.
Okay. So what about the rest of you? Are you all waiting for Baldo to go through and
sounds like a plan.
From around the corner, or what? All right, so you can all, you should have control of your tokens there. So Baldo, you move ahead around a corner into Muck's cave, and you don't see Muck initially, but then again you didn't the first time around either.
Right.
So you can so go ahead and make a stealth roll.
Okay.
Dexterity parentheses stealth into parentheses check. 12. Okay. So you're being good and quiet. You don't seem to arouse anything interesting as you creep along. So which direction do you creep? As you're going in, you have from Muck's cave, you have a twisty corridor immediately to your right, and then another one beyond that ahead of you to your right, and then another one that descends out of sight ahead to your left, which is the one you took before, where
Yeah.
you found other caverns with unpleasant things in them.
I think we should try to retrace our steps and get back to where we were before we decided to take a break.
Okay.
And
so where do you venture?
Can I see if anyone's been through this area, Shane?
Yeah, make a what's that, survival? Yeah, make a survival roll.
14.
14, yeah. You don't find anything that you would mark as footsteps, right? Whether there's been things creeping around in here, maybe, but looking for, like, you can tell the trail that the four of you leave behind, and that's the only trail of its kind.
So then a more specific question. On our trail that I can tell and determine, does it look like anything that's crossed over our trail that's not us or muck?
I mean, here and there, there's like one, you find a couple of Astartus's heavy footprints from yesterday that one of them is kind of smeared and slimed over.
Okay.
And all right, so the rest of you sort of leaning around a corner, watching Muck's cave. You see Baldo creep out of sight silently. What are the three of you doing?
We should probably go after him.
Really? I was just thinking we would take up defensive positions and wait for him to come running around that corner screaming and on fire.
Well, he has a tendency to run into trouble instead of thinking about it before acting.
Good point. And speaking of, I'll take point. You hang back and watch my back.
Sounds like an excellent plan.
All right. Go ahead, Key.
I'll let Astartus sneak first.
All right. So,
Nice.
Wow, Astartus. That is a natural 20 on your sneak roll. So, with unaccustomed, perfect silence, you advance. So, do you, as you're going forward, it looks like Baldo went to that rightmost of the three corridors leading out of Muck's cave. Do you go in that one or take one of the ones to the left?
I'm going to follow behind him.
Okay, behind Baldo?
Yeah,
All
on
right.
the principle that I'm pretty sure something will jump up behind him to eat him.
All right.
And I want to watch.
Sure. Okay, so after a few minutes, Key and Thalus, you see Astartus creep silently out of sight.
All right. I guess I'll go next since Thalus always takes up the rear, and I'm excited for this to go badly. Oh, it didn't go badly.
Wow.
All right. Look at you guys in your heavy armor.
Yeah.
Now it's time for me to drop the ball.
All right.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. You've got to be kidding me.
Wait, Shade. Technically, this is a coastal region. Do I get to take
It is. It is. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Well
15
thought.
is the
All right.
highest of my 2 rolls.
Wow.
All right,
all
so
right.
you're not literally bouncing a ball.
Yeah, so instead of a 7. All right, so in by far your most successful caper to date, you have successfully snuck past your one ally in this whole endeavor.
All right. I hear what you're saying,
You
and
reject it entirely.
it's not that I reject it, it's that I think we may still be cutting him open later, so I just don't want to get too attached. I've already got a chicken on a stick. I don't really want to have to go to bat for the Mudman too.
Oh, you're bringing your chicken in again? All right, I forgot about that.
Chicken's back in, yes.
All right, so we'll assume that the chicken was asleep when you were creeping around earlier. Chicken needs disadvantage on sneaking.
Okay. Henceforth, I will. I'll keep that in mind.
All right.
Okay, so guys.
So from there, you have, you have the initial cave where you fought the fishman zombie, and then you had a couple of other caves. One where you encountered a vampire mantle thing that jumped out and tried to drink your blood. and then another one that you explored and eventually fought skeletons and these weird sea spider looking things that came crawling out all over the place. And then to the right, there's a ledge that looks over a large sprawling cave that you've seen. You looked at it when you were here last time, but you haven't gone into that part of things yet.
What if we take our steps over here to the ledge and go to the big cave? I think he pointed and said that that's where more stuff is.
Muck did, yeah.
Gang, how do you feel about a little ledge climbing?
Nervous.
Which of the caves haven't we gone in that are already over here?
So around right now you're in kind of a central cavern that has one, two, three, four tunnels leading away from it, and you've explored all of those except the one that's the ledge overlooking that wider cave that Baldo's talking about.
Okay.
And as you're overlooking that ledge, it's about 10 feet above that sprawling cavern, and you can tell. Let's see, Baldo. It looks like you're in front there checking things out. One thing you can tell is directly ahead of where you're looking, a big part of the floor of this cavern that you're looking down upon. You can tell from where you are that it's like the floor is weird. The floor kind of slopes inward ever so slightly, and you can tell from the dim lighting of the phosphorescence all around that the stuff of the floor itself looks like it may be a different texture than around it. So as you're looking at the map, in fact, where it's marked with that deeper black of the pin strokes, that whole wide area within that is kind of strange like that.
I call the group over and whisper my findings. I say, look, it looks like there's a large indentured area down on the cave floor. I don't know if it's sand or gooey stuff or what, but what I think we should do when we climb down is avoid that area if at all possible and make our way into the caves along this left-hand wall. All right?
I'm just looking at Thalus. Did he say indentured?
I think he did.
You know, when you push something in, you create an indenture,
So stone cunning's like to tell who made some stonework, right? Not to like geologize the situation.
I think so.
Okay. I guess I could read you the exact text. Whenever you make an intelligent history check related to the origin of stonework, you're considered proficient in history and add double your proficiency bonus to the check.
Okay, yeah. So stonework. So that's that's to do with history. It says, right? Yeah. So yeah, that would be, for example, if you're in some place that was all wrought of stone and you wanted to figure out who made it or when or something along those lines. That would you'd be more likely to succeed.
I want to determine which ocean and wind ground this cave down to dust.
Well, none of this where you are is a cave the way you think about it. I mean, it's not like you're walking through tunnels that have been scored out of limestone, for instance, or a rocky beach. The materials all around you are way more organic than that.
Okay.
All right, so
and I use nature to determine what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you've yeah, I mean, I think that's something that you did really early on, and the more, I mean, it's you don't have a straight answer. It feels like there's some parts of this whole place that you're going around that are alive in themselves, but then there are other parts of it that are completely of a completely different nature, and like it's been sort of glommed together or grown together somehow.
Why don't we just shoot it and see what happens?
Okay.
Are you looking at the pit when you're saying that?
Yep.
Okay. Sure. So you let fly with an arrow?
What's the worst possible thing that could happen?
Why don't we just throw a flask of oil in there?
We have fewer of those than arrows.
I guess that's true.
Okay, so you shoot an arrow down at the pit, and the arrow thunks into the floor. It doesn't bounce like it would off of the hard stuff of most of the flooring that you've been walking across. It thunks into flesh, and when it does, the floor sort of shivers for a minute and then opens up, and the arrow slides down into this pit that looks damp, and you kind of smell this acrid, acidic stench coming out of it, and you see there's a glint of like Thalus. It looks like you're the one that shot the arrow. So yeah, Thalus, and you have good vision in the dark. You see a glint of something metallic down there, and
like
then
platinum?
you can't tell exactly what kind of metallic, unfortunately.
Maybe oil flask now.
And then the fleshy stuff of that part of the floor closes itself up again.
Okay.
So, if I'm not mistaken, your plan is to walk around that.
Well, I'm now open to suggestions because I thought it was just going to be like, quicksand or something. But this is much worse. This is so much worse than quicksand.
I say fire an arrow in, and when it opens up, we toss the oil flasks in and light them.
I look at Key and say, if there is treasure down there, we run the risk of melting it.
There was a glint of metal.
Can we just try shooting something sticky at it and see if we can fish it out?
Something sticky.
Do we have any resin?
That's going to take crackerjack timing. I don't have anything sticky.
We really need to bring grappling hooks on these misadventures.
Well, I have a kit with some stuff in it. Let's take a look here.
Got a plan. I say that we tie a rope around Baldo, and we shoot it, and when it opens, we drop Baldo in, and then you yank him out really quick once we get a better idea what's down there.
All right,
it's a good plan.
Dallas, that's not the worst thing that's happened to me since we've been inside these caves. But my suggestion is going to be to give it the chicken.
No, we need that chicken so we don't have to sacrifice one of us.
All right, then. Then, as far as I can think, is to burn it. So I will ready another flask. Thalus, you shoot an arrow into it. When it opens up, I will throw the flask, and we'll see what happens.
All right. Does anybody interfere or object to that before Baldo Well, no, Baldo's waiting for Thalus to shoot it. Is that what you said?
That's right. Once
I see. Okay.
shoot it to sort of draw out the open part, and then once it opens, throw the flaming oil flask into it.
I feel
Okay.
vindicated, and I can't wait till I'm horrified by the results.
All right.
I have a slew of objections, but I don't have a better plan. So shoot in a slightly different spot,
Okay.
but still in the soft, meaty, fleshy part.
And
Okay. Okay. So Thalus, give me a sense of, if you look at that pit, it's more of an oval than a clock. But if you give me a sense of sort of where a clock do you land your arrow, and how
So it
close
was
to
a
the
previous
center?
arrow here. Can you see my mouse?
Right. No,
I'm not
there you
doing
go.
this.
Yeah.
But was the previous arrow here?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I'm shooting right here.
Yeah. If you click and hold, that should call up a little radar thingy that everybody can see. All right. So just a few feet away from where you shot before, then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, you shoot with your arrow, and the thing kind of shivers. The flooring shivers and splits, and starts gobbling the arrow up.
as soon as the floor opens, I'm going to throw the flask of burning oil,
Okay.
and we're going to Molotov cocktail this.
Okay. So you hurl the flask down there, and actually, you know what? Give me a strength roll, and remember to do this at disadvantage because of your injuries, just to see how hard you hurl this thing. Call it an athletics check, maybe.
All right.
So 10. All right, that's not terrible. Okay, so you hurl the thing in there, and it, like, the flask doesn't shatter. What it hits down there isn't hard enough to shatter it, but it spills oil, and the oil catches fire, and so you've got kind of a merry little patch of a blaze down at the bottom there, and you can tell as that lights things up, there are these there's tons of little like, I don't know, I want to say cilia, or tendrils that are sort of coming up off of it, writhing around. Each of them maybe a few inches long, if that. But there's this terrible stench of burning something. It smells more like burning flesh than burning anything else that comes to mind, but it doesn't really smell like that either. And that acrid, acidic smell grows even stronger. The floor doesn't close all the way. It kind of starts to, and then it just sort of stays shivering and doesn't want to close over that fire. And let's see, I think Baldo and Thalus, is everybody kind of peering in to see what's going on there, or is anybody hanging back?
I will look down and see.
I'll look
Okay.
too.
Now, everybody roll alertness or perception or whatever they call it here.
Yeah.
15.
Unnatural 20 for key.
See what's coming.
My alert feat means I can't be surprised while I'm conscious.
Yeah, this isn't about
So,
surprise.
okay,
This
good
is
deal.
just noticing stuff.
Oh
All right.
no.
Okay. So Thalus and Key, you both make out right next to where the fire is, at the sort of the bottom of this weird pit. You can tell that there's like it looks like the sort of mostly dissolved ruins of a what might have been some kind of leather outfit, or armor. You think you recognize a couple of bones within it, and you can tell you see an axe head down there, but not a handle. And then next to the remains is strangely enough, a single javelin, long wooden shaft, and and long metal steel point that is that looks completely intact. Baldo. Oh boy, trying to think what to. Yeah, I'm gonna save your natural one for a rainy day. We'll see what happens with that later.
All right. So I'm looking down the corridor here, trying to see past the show that everybody's looking at, and just kind of checking it out. Oh, what's going on down there? I wonder if anybody's going to come running now that we're setting the cave on fire.
Okay. Yeah, nobody's running yet.
Okay. Well, this is good news. Sorry, what happened over here?
Over where? Oh, you're talking to them. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, you tell me what you're doing here.
I like it, Keith.
Can we swing across?
Well, I mean, you could climb down this 10. It's only a 10-foot drop, so you could lower yourselves down and hop down, and probably not tumble into the horrible, smelly pit, and kind of edge around it. I mean, it's certainly a reasonable fear of, will it reach out and grab us? You haven't seen anything reach out and try to grab things yet, but
how valuable personally do I feel like what's down inside the smelly pit is?
Well, most of what's down there is obviously just ruins. The javelin, you don't know. It's strange because it looks like everything else that's made of wood down there has been eaten away.
Well, maybe you could lower me down in there and I'll grab the important stuff.
You are poison proof, right?
Yes.
You know what? I'm just happy it's not me. I'm excited about this plan.
Let's do this.
So, Shane.
Yeah.
What would be the actual mechanics behind this incredibly brilliant, crazy plan?
Clearly, we're going to start with building a pulley and build our way up through the other Sentinel machines.
Did anybody put winch and pulley on your equipment sheet?
I do not have the means to construct a rudimentary lathe. But the burglar's pack might have something useful in it because, for burglars. So let me see here real quick. What if I've got anything that could be a grappling hook or a thingamabob? I've got climbing spikes, and I've got rope. I do have rope, and it's strong rope. So me and Thalus climb down the ledge onto the pit. We'll go to opposite sides of the pit. And then, Key, you will slide across the rope that we're holding on to. And what we'll do is we'll lower you down by releasing the tension on the rope. So you'll just sort of bend down. When you've got the stuff, we can literally pull the rope tight and pull you out of the pit.
Okay.
Shane.
Yeah.
From what I saw, if we saw the javelin that's down there, would it be possible that we could grab the javelin with a grapple? If we could throw like a grappling hook down and yank it up, is that possible?
I doubt it with a grappling hook.
What about if we just made a rope equivalent, like Boy Scouts?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah. What do any of you have any proficiencies, like skills or tool proficiencies that lend themselves to tying really good ropes?
I have smith tools.
I have
I
have an expertise in thieves' tools, and I should be able to rig an improvised crowbar or a grappling hook out of the crowbar, the rope, and some of the other strangeness in my pack.
I am a sailor.
A sailor I would buy as far as rope work goes. Yeah. If you're looking to just form a noose or something that you can then yank to tighten it and haul the javelin up by the by its head, or by that, I don't know the names of the parts of a javelin, but that like bulby part at the where the wood where the steel is attached to the wood.
That part.
Yeah, that
Bulby part.
Bulby part. So that's a possibility. If you can come up with a good description of using the thieves' tools to make some kind of a grabbing hand, which is what it sounds like you were trying to think of, then that's a possibility.
Well, we could combine those two ideas. We take my spear, attach some of the thieves' tools, tie the tools into the head of the spear, and some fancy knot work will let you have a crude mechanism for.
I see what you want to do. This is I understand what he's saying. What Astartus is describing is a grabber. We use the crowbar to lash the end of the crowbar to the end of the spear. I use another part of the rope to fasten it to the curved end of the crowbar and operate that by pulling it open. Then if I let it go, the crowbar snaps closed on the end of the spear and should grab whatever we've got between the end of the spear and the hooked part of the crowbar. Ha!
Mm-hmm. Or break it in half.
Or, optimally, we would be trying not to do that. But if this thing has survived down there, I have a funny feeling that we're going to need that javelin later.
The fire is guttering out as it burns through the oil.
Oh, in that case, we better hurry up.
Doesn't look like it's catching other things down there, on fire.
All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to climb down into the from the ledge into the pit. I will be leaving the chicken.
Okay. Now you don't mean into the pit.
No, into the bottom of the ledge here.
The cavern. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And I am going to inch my way over to right here so that I can be on this side of things.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So Baldo creeps around, lowers down painfully, and then creeps around the side to the right. And what else is happening?
So if Thalus, can you fire another arrow and see if we can get this thing to open up?
Sure.
I'd like to see how far down the javelin is from where we are, or for where I'm standing.
All right. So Thalus, you can.
Shane.
Yeah.
When you said when I've shot, it sort of and it stays standing up, or does it fall down when the arrow's hit?
No, the arrow hits and stays standing up. It's like you've shot an arrow into a
dartboard,
or into a into a whale's side.
Gotcha.
Right. It thunks in solidly and sinks in and stays there. All right. So the arrow thunks in, and after an instant, the pit shivers and slides itself open again to devour the arrow. And Baldo, what were you doing? You were sort of peering in to get a better view or see.
Yeah, I want to make sure that we can reach it with our improvised tool here.
Okay. All right. So as you're peering in there and you're trying to kind of gauge the distances and the lengths, and then this voice next to you says, "Pretties," and give me an acrobatics roll as you jump out of your skin.
Oh, odd. Oh, all right.
If you wish we'd killed him earlier now, huh?
Yeah, I kind of do. All right. Okay.
Okay. Now remember to let's see. Hold on. Let me double check before I penalize you too terribly. What your penalties are from being all beat up. Attempt an action in combat. All right, yeah, you're not in combat, so you're good. All right, so you very nimbly, definitely managed to not lose your footing. And your friend Muck is standing there, looking down in there, like, what's caught your attention? That clearly must be something valuable, and then looks up at you and kind of nods his head and gives you a gloppy kind of smile.
I point down into the open hole and say, "Pretties."
You're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
The pit starts to close up again.
All right, so can I gauge how far down the javelin is from this? I mean, are we talking 10 feet, 5 feet?
About 10 feet. So from where you are,
mm-hmm.
I would put it at maybe 15 feet all told.
All right.
10 feet down and whatever, 5 or 10 feet over.
I look up at the group and say, "Okay, so Muck's back, and I don't think we can get there from here."
Hey, Shane.
Yeah.
As it's closing, is the fire still going? Our little fire down there?
No, that's guttered out now. It was just the oil burning itself away. So Muck sees you guys up on the ledge and flaps up in his flappy, muddy wings and flaps over to the ledge and lands near you, to pitch in. Sprinkles mud all over you.
Before it closes, I have to ask. When he's flying up, can I, this is Sparta him into the pit?
I mean, he has wings.
Never mind.
All right.
Shane gave him wings specifically because he knew that was coming.
Next time, Muck. Next time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's only one thing I can think of to do, frankly, and that's, I don't like this idea. How invested are we in getting the javelin?
Very.
Okay.
It's a Tuesday.
What if I told you that the only plan I'm thinking of right now involves tying a rope to one of the ledges and jumping into the hole that is made whenever something stands on this?
I thought I already volunteered for that.
Do you feel up to it?
Yeah. As long as you guys are going to pull me back out.
With all respect, I think Baldo might be more compact.
I'm very compact.
I'll leave it there.
She just doesn't swim well.
Just very dense. That's how compact I am.
I've got enough rope to lower one person down and pull them back up. And if I've got help pulling, it shouldn't be any problem.
Oh, I've got 50 feet of rope right here.
Right. So
it's just that was a joke plan. And so now that it's about to become a real plan.
So Thalus, Muck like tugs on your tunic. Says, "What's a javelin?"
It's a point thing.
Tastes just like gold.
Okay. He kind of furrows his muddy brow thoughtfully, trying to piece that together.
Muck, can you help us get the javelin? I point to the pit and say, "Javelin, can you help?"
He kind of looks down at the pit again and says, "It's hungry."
What does it like to eat?
You? Me?
Yeah.
Anything.
Fair.
All right. What? Haha. Crab shells. The crab shells. When we came in, there's pieces of those big crabs.
You're going to give it indigestion.
This thing's a garbage disposal. I don't know what that is because that doesn't exist. This thing is a bilge hole. Anything we put in it, it accepts. I say, if this has to open, let's give it something that's hard to chew.
So what do y'all do?
Go back one cave and find some shells, I guess.
That's the spirit. Ha ha. Okay, now.
Hey, Shane.
Yeah.
Looking around, are there any large stalagmites or anything like that if we were to use and if you fell into it, it would be stone and large enough so that it couldn't completely close its mouth.
Not stone, but close, right? I mean, there's all kinds of weird coral-like growths, some of which are very spiny and kind of sticking out. You could certainly harvest a number of things like that.
Looking for something large like that we could put on it so that it wouldn't try to close. It would take it more time to close.
Okay.
That's brilliant.
All right. Yeah. All right. So describe what you have in mind. Or what do you dig up?
Equivalently looking for preferably like two of them, almost, and even if we could push them over the top of the ledge so that they could hit separately, like here and here when it opens. So then when it tries to close, it has to like fight through those to close its gullet. But they need to be large enough that they're outside of its mouth.
Oh, okay.
I think this whole thing's going to open up underneath it, though. I think the whole thing is a mouth.
Probably.
So where would you where would you lay these things, if I'm understanding you right?
Well, almost if they were up here, they'd have to almost I think be 12 to 15 feet long, right? If it's 10-foot gullet down up.
Oh, I see. Okay,
so we'd have to push them through there. Yeah. So the objective is that it's going to probably chew through whatever we get, but we're making time for whoever goes into the pit. When they inevitably fail for a few rounds, they're not automatically dead.
Interesting. All right.
I resent that implication.
Any names?
I didn't say anybody.
Yeah. Okay. So let me see. That sounds like another survival thing. I guess
Sure.
Thalus can take the lead on that, knowing about
16.
most of all of you about these things. All right. Yeah. So you can find a couple of long things. You can't guarantee how much force either of them will tolerate, if it comes to it, but you find a couple of long things that you and Key and Thalus can awkwardly carry over to that ledge.
Okay. Is everyone on board with this plan before we do this?
Hell yeah.
I'm ready to jump into the mouth of the monster.
All right.
All right. So describe for us, how do you go about placing your long corally spines?
We will place them strategically here and here. We'll also tie, I'm assuming, like my rope on them so we can slow their descent so they don't break when they hit it, so they land on top of it.
So you're looking at lowering each of them down to the sort of upright to the base of the ledge where you are, with an eye toward tipping them into it.
Correct.
And I'm looking over here for an outcrop that I can tie my rope onto. And so the idea being that I'll tie the rope to my waist, I can jump down and then use the rope to pull myself back up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of weird, uneven parts of the walls here that you can tie things onto.
All right, very good.
All right, so who kicks this thing off? And give us your initial description of your actions.
I glance to the strongest member of the party.
Astartus.
Okay.
There's not enough rum in the house right now.
So only one barrel?
One barrel. Oh yes, yeah. I wish I have a flagon. It's not enough.
Muck flaps back over to where Baldo is thinking. Baldo kind of looks like the sort of person who might accidentally leave some gold behind him.
I look at Muck and say, I point to the thing again and I say, "Come with me, pretty."
Can we just convince him to fly down there and get it?
He looks skeptical at that assertion.
Well, all right. Whenever you're ready, guys.
Okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
Okay. As soon as the mouth opens, I am going to run and jump down using my acrobatics.
Okay. All right. So how do you open it? Is this an arrow shooting into it again? Or is this dropping one of those one of those big spines.
I think the big spine should do the game.
Big spines, yeah. Okay, so so
one other thing. Sorry, Shane. One last thing. With the excess rope that I have, I'm gonna make a lasso with that up here.
All right.
Let's go.
All right. So the gullet opens, and Baldo, you go leaping, and roll acrobatics. This one will be at disadvantage, not for the leaping, but the landing. Oh, that makes it a natural 1. Okay. So
now it's a D&D session.
Baldo goes leaping and hits the squishy, squelchy, acrid floor of this thing, this pit, and then curls up in sudden agony as something inside takes a little too much of the pressure for how it's feeling these days. Baldo, you can kind of smell and feel the acid around you. Roll this first because you fumbled that acrobatics roll. Okay, so that's 5 points of damage, Baldo. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm not the one who wrote this. And as you go slamming down into it and, feel something tear, and then the rest of you are watching that happen. So the next couple of seconds, Baldo, describe what you're trying to do as you gnash your teeth and get your wits about you.
All right. I got one shot at this. So I am going to, first of all, is there a space in the pit that's not covered with the cilia?
No.
Okay. Then I'm going to try and get out of the pit by way of running past the javelin. So I understand this is going to be rolls and I'll probably fail something. My intention is to get to the edge of the pit and pull myself up. And if I can grab the javelin on the way, I'm going to grab it and throw it out of the pit.
Okay. All right.
Like pick it up and literally toss it up to the ledge and then haul ass on the rope. That's my plan.
Okay.
It is basic and stupid, but so am I.
Okay. Make an athletics roll.
All right. And we're still at disadvantage, right?
This I really don't want to make you roll at disadvantage. I feel like I should though. I'll say I'm gonna say let's let you make just a straight roll on this one.
All right.
Okay, so you have an awkward choice as you can feel like there's smoke, or kind of rising from your shoes or your boots or sandals, whatever you wear, and you're starting to lose your footing. You have a choice. You can either hurl that javelin, but you're going to be in here for another few seconds.
Yeah.
Or you can drop the javelin and clamber.
We're going to clamber.
No.
Okay. Good choice.
I choose clamber.
All right. So Baldo clambers up enough to. Are you clambering up entirely out of the pit? Right now, the mouth of it is not closed yet. It's kind of hung up on those spikes that you put in.
If I can grab the edge of, if I can sort of steady myself, I want to get out of the acid and then look at Muck and nod down at the javelin and say, "Muck, get the javelin."
Okay, make a persuade roll.
Yes. Oh.
Okay.
Baldo showed up to play.
That's another natural 1 for those of you listening at home. So Muck kind of looks down at the javelin and nods at you like, "Oh, that's a great idea," and goes to start untying your rope.
Oh, for the love of God. Okay. Well,
Astartus and Thalus and Key, what are you up to? Astartus, you go first because you're figure is closest to the edge there, from what I can see.
Can I lunge and grab him?
He's too far away because he climbed down, and you're still. I think you're still at the top of the ledge.
Okay. Well, in that case,
so from where you are, Baldo is like in this pit, and about I don't know, 10 feet away from you. He's not all that far, but also down about 10 feet.
I guess I will drop down and try to reach down so that I can help him up.
Okay. All right. So I'll move Astartus around. You can kind of muscle past Muck to get to the edge there. All right. So yeah, you can, Astartus, you can get to the rope. You see Muck is sort of fooling with the knot, and but you could grab the rope and start hauling if you want to.
Sure. I will commence hauling.
All right. And Thalus, you're next closest. What are you doing?
Can I use the lasso to grab javelin?
You can give it a shot. Yeah, make an athletics roll.
Dex or athletics?
I think athletics. That's the skill for like climbing and doing climbing related things.
13, 15 if I have advantage for some reason.
13. I don't think 13 is going to do it. This would be. Sounds like it's going to be pretty intricate. So it's like almost, you lasso the tip of that javelin, and then you start pulling, and the rope slides off of it before it tightens enough.
Can it go end over end and hit Baldo in the back?
wait, what now?
Can it go end over end and hit Baldo in the back?
Oh, the javelin. No such luck yet. But Key, what are you doing?
I want to throw one of the spines down into the mouth thing again. Hopefully it will stay open a little longer.
Okay. And so it goes crashing down with a squelching impact. Astartus and Baldo. Astartus, are you bringing Baldo all the way up to solid ground out of the pit?
Much as I want him to ignominiously dangle, I am going to hold him all the way up.
No, wait. Let dangle me. If you could hold me up, dangle me. I can get it if you hold the rope.
All right. I like to see what happens with another one.
Okay. So you're going to lower him down to try to get it. Then Astartus, let's do an athletics test on your part now.
Uh-oh.
At least you are proficient.
All right. So 10 is like you kind of, I don't know, you probably have to sort of swing Baldo out there to get close enough to grab the javelin, and he's just not almost close enough to grab hold of it, but not quite.
Damn it, the dwarf would have more inertia.
As I flail back into the side of the pit, I say over my shoulder, "You single-handedly steered this ship out of a maelstrom, and you can't get me over to the javelin?"
All right, so new round. One of those big coral spines kind of tips over and falls lengthwise into the pit. The other one is still kind of jammed up and keeping the pit from closing all the way. And let's see, Thalus, you go first now. No, Baldo, you're the one with the awesome initiative, so I'll let you go first. You kind of describe what you're doing.
Since I'm on the rope, can I push? Can I use my weight and my inertia to sort of make another swing and try to grab the javelin as I swing by?
Yeah. You can make an acrobatics roll, and you can choose if you want to roll it at disadvantage, and I'll give you inspiration.
I will choose to roll at a disadvantage.
Okay, not quite, but you get inspiration. But not quite. You like contort yourself, and then the pain sets in again, and you just can't quite.
Come on,
Thalus. What about you?
So what I wanted to, I'm not sure if it's too late, but as it's falling lengthwise, since I'm holding a rope, I want to ride the spine down, grab the spear when it hits, and then use the rope to yank myself back up. Actually, swing myself back up acrobatically, all swashbuckle-like.
Nice.
Okay, and what's the rope tied onto?
It's tied on to the other spine and somewhat up here to secure it a little bit.
Key will grab it if possible.
He did this
Okay.
on the ship too.
I'm sort of trying to, help me envision the swinging back. If
Since
you
the
imagine
rope
a
is-
pendulum and you're at the far end of that pendulum, is the top of the pendulum somewhere where you're going to be
That's
able
going to be
to
where Key is, because that's where like the rope
Okay.
is secured. Key's holding it. The others,
so you're kind of swinging.
Spine is
Okay,
still
I see.
there.
I see. And you're going to be sort of trying to climb up it, and
I'm
give it
I'm
a shot.
Legolasing it right now.
All right. Make an acrobatics roll. Thalus is away.
22.
Oh, geez, that's a 22. All right, Legolas. The elf glides down and seizes the javelin, and then swings back up again on the backswing to the edge of the pit with the
Where you want me?
javelin in hand. And do you wear gloves or just naked
Yes.
hands?
Gloves.
Okay,
I
so-
fight monsters.
So your gloves are kind of smoking a little bit, and you have the treasured javelin in your hands now. And let's see, Astartus, what are you doing? You're still hanging on to the rope from which Baldo dangles.
Guess I'll reel him in.
Okay,
You know.
give me another athletics roll, and just don't fumble this.
I mean, there's no more point in keeping the bait out on the line.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe there
Okay,
is.
an 18 is certainly not a fumble, so there you go. All right, so you haul Baldo up. Baldo is in great pain and kind of pale. Thalus, you have the pit slurps itself close again, having nothing else to chew on, and those spikes both having fallen, and then things kind of get quiet again. Muck flaps up to join Thalus and Key and see what all of this was about. Thalus, you're holding a javelin. The design of it looks like it's probably from like a Samaran design, which is the sort of vast network of kingdoms off in the deserts to the east that came in and generations ago conquered everything, and that was formerly conquered by the Zyirrans, and then left satraps in charge, but has not really been active since then. And there are runes all along the javelin that are I think either you or Key could recognize are Samaran symbols of their storm god, their god of storms and war.
From the edge of the pit, I look up at Thalus and I say, "Nicely done, nicely done. You couldn't have done that before I lost my shoes, but nicely done."
I wanted you to feel like you're helpful in doing something.
Well, mission accomplished.
All right. Muck kind of reaches up to prod and sniff the javelin, and then looks up at you, Thalus, like he gives you a look like he caught you in a lie, and he's a little irked about it.
This isn't shiny at all.
Doesn't taste anything like gold.
I will cautiously and carefully move to the other side of the pit by skirting the edge of it, so that I can look down into this larger cavern.
Yeah. All right. So looking down the cavern, it sort of descends down an uneven slope towards deep shadows. What looks like in the luminescence in another, who knows, 50 feet or so. It looks like it descends into a small tunnel leading away to the south.
Why don't you two on the ledge join us?
All right.
So right here is sort of where it levels out, this area here.
Yeah, and that there's another tunnel, Baldo, where you are, that descends away northward, as you can see on the map there.
Okay. We have two choices. Can anybody throw this weapon? Now that we have it. I look at pointedly at Astartus and Thalus and say, "Is this something you can use?"
I will grab it and heft it. And can I tell how far I can throw it?
Javelins, I think 120 feet is their usual maximum range off the top of my head. It's a martial ranged weapon proficiency-wise. So I'm pretty sure Thalus and Astartus both are proficient with javelins. Key might be. I don't remember what her weapon proficiencies are, though.
Too tall for her.
Oh, well, sure.
Okay.
Naturally.
Yeah, I'm not proficient in martial weapons.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, anybody can throw a javelin, but Astartus and Thalus are going to be better at it.
Very good. Well, hold on to that. If it survived down there, it's probably stronger than normal weapons.
It's going to outlive me. Gotcha.
What say you? Head straight or go to the corridor off to my left?
Let's go left. I hate to leave a unchecked corridor to our back, if it can be avoided.
Okay.
Oh.
So, Baldo, are you leading the way again? Or
Well, I'm gonna head back over to the ledge, retrieve the chicken, and come back. Actually, Key, can you hold on to this?
Sure
if I'm
thing.
gonna be scouting ahead, I'd rather be quiet.
How bad are you feeling? Because I can cast Cure Wounds again, but I only have 2 level 1 spell slots.
I'm bad off.
Okay, I'm going to cast Cure Wounds then.
All right. So roll for that hit point.
7 back.
That's great. That gets me up to full, which is less 1 because of my lingering wound. All right. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for retrieving the valuable javelin, or at least trying to.
I'd like to say it's the thought that counts, but I don't believe that. I believe it's the treasure that counts. Always the treasure.
I agree.
Very good. All right.
They're bonding.
We're already friends. We're simpatico vis-a-vis this whole gold thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to think you're all sharing the kinds of dangers that bring people together.
Why, certainly.
Across the divides of culture and background.
Okay, so I will get back out and lead the way in stealth,
right,
so
so
that I can be creepy and sneaky.
Okay,
and
so you're
hopefully
creeping northward, is that right? And around
yes,
that corner?
that's right. That's right.
Yeah. All right, so make a stealth roll. Okay, 13 is not too bad. So you, so I'll move your token to where you get a pretty good view of what's going on. I guess how far are you advancing? The tunnel.
I'm going to creep until it opens up.
Okay, so it sort of levels off and grows wider, and ahead of you, it narrows again, but you can see there's a ever so slightly brighter glow coming from there.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hold up here and wait for everybody else. And
Okay.
there's nobody in the cave here. There's nothing.
No.
Let me make a quick investigation and see if there's anything on the ceiling or anything on the walls or anything else that might be willing to eat my face.
All right. Yeah. Make an investigation roll. Nothing eats your face.
Very good.
You find some sort of strange patterns in the growths that recur that feel like that they sort of hint at some kind of purpose or meaning that eludes you.
Are they pattern? Does it even look like language, or is it just simply a pattern that repeats?
You just can't tell. And
Got it.
I mean, it's also irregular enough that once you stop thinking about it, you sort of lose track of it.
Gotcha. I make a noise to let everybody else know that they can head this way.
Okay. What does everybody else do?
Toward the noise.
Yeah. All right. So you descend, come around a corner, join Baldo there as I described, and then what?
The glow that you mentioned is coming from here.
Yeah. It's directly ahead of you where the cavern narrows again.
I will stealth forward to the. I'll make a wave at them, point to that corridor, and stealth over. My intention is to get right to the edge here and look around so I can look into where the light's coming from without being seen.
Let's see. You can.
Terrible stealth roll.
All right. Okay, so move your token to where you had in mind to go.
Right. Well, I guess right there.
Okay, so just where it kind of opens up again.
Mm-hmm.
And all right, so it looks like the beyond where the cavern narrows, it opens up and widens, and grow and where it widens out, it's a good bit higher, taller. There's a pulsing of luminescent lights from these nodules or like blisters throughout the walls all around here, all around this next chamber. At the far end of the chamber, you see that it looks like it leads, that there are a number of small, narrow tunnels leading out of this chamber. And in around the walls, you see a number of what you suspect are shrines, because they're sort of these strange shapes that have grown up from the stuff of the temple, about which you can see silver scattered and gold scattered, and a voice that seems to come from all throughout the cavern that you're looking into. You hear this voice kind of whisper, "Come."
I look back at Key and say, in a clear, strong voice, "We're going to need that chicken now, I think."
Yeah. I'll move forward with it. Can I make a religion check to see if I recognize any more of what's going on in this temple?
Yeah, you can give it a shot.
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, you as well are confident that it's that those are shrines, not just accidental piles of treasure, but what meaning they may have is completely foreign to you.
I take the chicken from her, and I'm going to say again very loudly, "Greetings, Exalted One. I am here with my friend and our chicken. Just the two of us. May we enter?" And I'm going to make a little motion with my hand as I wipe the back of my head, basically hang back until it looks like we're going to need some arrow shots.
Okay, that's to Thalus and Astartus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Astartus, you hear Muck's muddy wings flapping nearby, and he kind of you feel him sort of prod the back of your helmet and say, and you see him gesture ahead to where they are and say, "Oh, pretties.
Lead the way."
Okay, he squelches between you and Thalus and flaps ahead, and then turns and beckons the two of you to come.
Okay.
So, Key and Baldo, what are you doing?
I am going to step into the cavern right here,
right,
and see if I can spot where the voice is coming from.
Okay. Key, what about you?
I am moving into the cavern as well, keeping my eyes open as much as possible.
Okay. As you step in, A shape comes into view from one of those tunnels that leads out and away, and it looks like the long dead corpse of one of the sea folk. One of the people that you met under the at the bottom of the sea, but and he wears this kind of elaborate crown and long robes, but is like not exactly translucent, but it doesn't look entirely solid, not entirely there. And he steps forward more plainly into view and stares imperiously out of dead eye sockets at Baldo and Key, and says that it is good that you have come. And when he speaks, I mean, you get the sense it's him speaking, but at the same time, the voice is the same that whispered before, and it's whispering from everywhere in this cavern. And he says, "One of you must take my instruction to the folk that I abandoned long ago. They must resume bringing sacrifices to the Nameless One."
Oh, but we've brought a sacrifice. We've brought a sacrifice.
You is the sacrifice.
Not us. And I hold the cage with the chicken aloft, and I say, "This, their imperial chicken of Crag Morley. This is the chicken of kings. This is the chicken that people have gone to war over. This chicken is the most valuable chicken in the known realm. And I have stolen this from the people of above, the kings of the lands above us, with the intention of bringing it here as a show of fealty to you. And I'm hoping to God that you'll let me rank a persuasion check to see if he buys that load of bullshit."
You can make a persuasion roll, sure. So a 12 is not terrible, but not great. And either way, the dead priest stares at you in silence after your speech for a moment of absolutely palpable hatred.
Oh boy.
And he says, the voice around you whispers, "There will be a day when the gods of earth weaken and the waves crash life-giving across the Nameless One and stirs it to hunger and vengeance. Until then, living blood must suffice. I think yours." He looks at Key and waits.
All right. So I say loud enough to be heard in the other cave. Okay. Usual stuff's not working. So I guess what's going to happen is Key is going to have to kill me to appease the demon. And she's going to do that right in just a second.
Muck comes flapping between you into the middle of the big chamber and looks around with gleaming, ecstatic joy at all of the treasure. And the priest turns and stares at Muck and then makes a gesture, and Muck gleefully flaps over to one of the shrines and picks up a gem and steps out of sight, kind of humming to himself and tasting it, and with tremendous joy.
So you two know each other. Outstanding. All right.
We await the sacrifice.
Yes, just 1 second on the whole sacrifice thing, and I'm gonna move to here, and I'm gonna look at Key and say, "Well, when I get out of your way, I suppose that would be the time to do something about it." Yes?
About him?
So my plan is to is to go into dodge mode. And as soon as I'm out of her way, my intention, oh boy, I'm going to try and get, I'm going to attempt to get to where I can hide in shadows with the hopes of using backstab later. But while I'm getting out of the way and Key is shooting, perhaps the archers can step up and keep firing at this thing or throw the javelin.
All right, so I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and make everybody make your initiative rolls.
All right, we're up to initiative.
Get them on the table.
Yeah, Key. Initiative 2. Ooh.
Oh boy.
Okay, so we have Baldo at the top, and Baldo, describe what you do.
All right, I'm going to
Right now, just to clarify, you're standing in between Key
and the
priest.
Yes,
and you've been facing her.
Right.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around with my hands up, and I am going to dash this way, trying to head to right here.
Okay. You can move. 30 feet, 6 squares.
And so,
and then attempt an action if you need to go further than that.
Right. So what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to move to here, which looks like the darker of the corridors. And when I get to this cave is when I'm going to attempt to hide in shadows. So I'm going to run to right here and down the mouth about 5 feet. And I'm going to try and duck back using stealth to get out of sight.
Okay. You know what? Yeah. Give me a stealth roll. Go ahead and roll for it.
All right.
The odds of that's not going to be good. You're not I mean, assuming it's for as far as you can tell, the priest can see because he was certainly glaring daggers at you.
Yes.
But you just ran right past him, and so
I didn't say it was brilliant.
You're not confident that you'd be hidden from him at this point if he decided to take an interest in you.
Right. And my intention is that hopefully he will not go after me.
Okay.
Especially since he's about to have his hands full with other things.
Okay. You still have an action you can attempt if you want one.
I'm going to hold my attack action.
Okay. And at what condition is going to set that off?
If he moves towards Key to engage with her, or if he steps forward, or if he turns his attention to Key and attacks her at range.
Okay. And what are you going to be using to attack him? You're too far at this point to stab him.
I brought the short
right next to you.
I brought the short bow for this very thing.
Sure. All right. Very well. And Thalus, you're next up. You see where you are. You can kind of see into the cave. You don't see the entirety of it, but you see enough. And you see Baldo go darting out of, darting into one of the little side tunnels directly opposite where you are at the entrance of this cavern. What do you do?
Since Astartus took the javelin, I will do what I do best and shoot it.
All right. So you're moving. Are you moving up to?
I can see it from right here.
The priest. Yeah, I think you probably could. Okay.
I shoot him from the safety of the hallway.
Yeah, I'll let that one go. Okay, so what was that? A word? 15.
15 and 11 points of damage.
Okay, so nice. Your arrow it like hits it darts into where the priest is and passes through him, but it seems to slow down substantially on its way through, and he turns with a hiss at you. Let's see. Muck is enjoying himself. Astartus, you're next. You're standing next to Thalus. You don't have a view of the enemy from where you are. You see Key ahead of you, but you have a pretty good sense of what's going on.
Far away is Key?
Key is only about, 10 or 15 feet from where you are.
All right, I will move forward so that I have shield coverage of Key.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And so you advance enough that you can plainly see this spectral priest now only 10-ish feet away from where you and Key are, hissing at Thalus as his arrow passes through it. Are you taking any action this turn?
No. I'd like to hold my action in case in case he comes this way.
Okay. What's your held action going to be? Like a spear stab?
Yeah, spear
okay.
stab.
All right. Very good. And all right. So the spectral priest now floats up into the air and seems to almost swell with gathered terrifying infernal power, and you feel these, like, every inch of your nerves suddenly, all of you suddenly start screaming to turn and go the other way. It's almost as it's like the feeling that you get when a if you see something sharp heading right for your eye. That's how screeching this feeling is. And each of you needs to make a wisdom saving throw at DC difficulty 13. That's a failure for Baldo, and what do we have? We had a 10 for Baldo, which is a failure. We had an 11 for Key, which is a failure, but we had a
19
11 for
Key.
Astartus.
Yeah.
An 11 for Astartus, which is still a failure. A 19 for Key and a 16 for Thalus, both of which succeed. So that rising, screaming panic completely overwhelms Baldo and Astartus. You are, in technical terms, you have the D&D condition known as frightened, which means you cannot move yourself any closer to the spectral priest who has so terrified you. And you have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls as long as he is within your line of sight.
Well, that's no good.
Whoops. Thanks, Megan.
And
What does it mean?
all right. So Key, it's your turn now.
All right, I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt, which does radiant damage. So hopefully I've learned my lesson, and hopefully I roll well. Okay, this is with an attack.
All right, 19 definitely bolts him. So roll whatever the damage is for that. Wow, 14. That's brutal. Okay.
It's the only time I can do it.
Well, that's true.
It's a great time to do it, though.
And the next attack roll made against this target before the end of my next turn has advantage, thanks to the mystical dim light glittering on the target until then.
Gotcha. All right. Baldo, make a dexterity saving throw.
Very good.
It's not quite. All right. So as you feel your that panic seep in and spread throughout your blood, it's almost like that distracted you so much that you didn't realize there were a number of spines that have now stuck themselves out of this wall and into you.
Okay. All right.
And
uh-oh.
Okay. So you take 7 points of damage.
Oh.
And as you're sort of teetering on the edge of passing out, you hear you don't really hear it with your ears, but in your head or from somewhere in your soul, you hear this whispering voice say, "This is your last chance to live a life of strength and survival, to leave this place intact. You have only to agree to what we require."
I'll take the deal.
Okay. So the spines withdraw, and you regain. Well, you heal 15 hit points, but that's more than enough to bring you back to your maximum. And you hear the you hear the voice in your head saying, "You must leave one of them for me. One of them then shall be the sacrifice." And there will be further sacrifices and glories to come.
Of course. Right.
If you rescind this agreement, then you will become one of my children and join me in eternal glory, where you may never leave or refuse me again.
Boy, this seems really steep. Really like to go over the terms and conditions.
It's too late. You already signed.
I know.
You see what happens? You click agree without reading that.
You click agree without reading. I know.
Just had to have those 2 months free, didn't you?
This is how you make the human centipede. Okay.
I hope not.
I will. Are we back at the top of the initiative?
Yeah. It's your turn, in fact.
Okay. I'm going to step out of the cave here, and
in fact, the penalty that you have for your internal injury, you're not suffering that penalty right now.
I say, good news, everybody. I've decided to pledge my troth to the sea demon, and we're going to need a sacrifice. Astartus, do you have the sacrifice stick on you still? And I kind of glance down at the javelin.
Where do you need it?
Hand it to me. I will turn and unceremoniously throw it at the spectral priest, and I'm going to use my inspiration to help me with the throw.
Okay.
So do you need just a regular attack roll for this?
Yeah, well, if you're using inspiration, you can you attack with advantage.
Right.
And this is not one you're proficient with.
Nope.
So you oh no, a javelin is a simple weapon. My bad. Okay, so you do have proficiency with it, I think. Are you proficient with all simple weapons, or is it a restricted list?
Baldo? No, it says simple weapons. I can throw a javelin.
Okay. It uses strength, not dexterity,
which will be no help.
Okay, so you get your proficiency modifier +2, and then your strength modifier, if you have one, applies to that as well.
Do not.
Okay, so roll that, and you can roll it with advantage for the inspiration.
I'm gonna roll just a straight D20, and we're gonna add 2 to it.
Okay. So it's a 4 and a 3. Wow. Okay.
And that sucks mightily. So the 4 would be a 6, and the 3 would be a 5.
So
I'm confident that does not hit.
Yeah, I mean, as you pull the javelin back and prepare to throw it, you find yourself overwhelmed with pain and nausea, and the javelin kind of goes wobbling across the towards him, and then clatters uselessly to the ground.
Ugh.
And you lose those hit points you got back, so you're back to 1.
Back to 1.
And you hear and you see the spectral priest, his like dead face twists in a mocking, contemptuous sneer. And Thalus, it is your turn.
So where exactly is the javelin?
The javelin, I'll draw a little shape here. It's right. Do you see where I drew it right behind the priest?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so he did throw it, and it's literally behind the priest.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Put him out of his misery. It's what he would have wanted.
So what do you do, Thalus?
I will deal with this attack of opportunity that'll probably kill me. Move to there.
Okay.
And then
all right.
running across the room, sliding under it, grabbing the javelin, and thrusting up.
Okay. That'll all of that will work. You've got enough room to move, and you can cover that distance and grab the thing and stab. Make an attack roll, and this is strength again. It's not finesse, so you don't use your dexterity.
And we still have advantage right now, right?
I don't think you have advantage. Do you have advantage?
The spell that was cast last round.
Yeah. It's to the end of Key's round.
Key's thing. Yeah, you do. Yeah, good call.
Nope, it did the same thing that it did.
Is a 5 or a 3. Yeah.
Hold on. No. Not meant to be.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Seriously, what would a
Is
single 20
our
have been?
are any
Look at
of
that.
you?
A single 20 would have been a 15.
That would have been beautiful, if only. There's an alternate timeline out there. Are any of you proficient with Arcana, the skill? Arcana, I guess.
I am.
Okay. Key, give me an Arcana roll.
Some random javelin we've been
Oh,
tossing
Jesus,
around.
that's a natural 20.
I rolled a nat
Wow.
20 on one die and a 1 on the other.
Yeah, so Key, you're sort of, it occurs to you, you have this flash that a weapon like this that you've found, it probably has to be, like there's probably some incantation with which you can summon its power, or the power of the storm god who consecrated it, for it to have its full effect.
Can I make like a religion check to try to think of what a good incantation would be?
If you had the thing in hand and were studying those runes, maybe
Okay.
you might could do that. In the meantime, Muck comes flapping up to see what all the commotion is, and he goes flapping past, and so he sort of settles down next to Baldo, where Baldo is, staggering there, kind of starts looking Baldo over, looking for the valuable bits before he falls.
Oh.
And Astartus, it's your turn.
All right. What Key? Are you sharing your bit of insight with
Yes.
the group?
Also, I need to see the javelin.
All right. I will run over to the javelin and throw it to her.
Okay, so Thalus is holding it right now. He just tried to stab the priest with it.
All right. Well, I will run over and grab it from him and try to throw it to her.
Okay. All right, I'll move you over there. Thalus, are you letting the javelin be grabbed from you?
Sure.
Okay. All right, no problem. So the javelin is over here with Key now.
I remember
And,
a cooking competition where they only had
Hold
one knife.
on. I totally screwed up here. Something. Astartus, you need to make a wisdom saving throw before you can attempt.
Oh, yeah, because I have to get closer to him.
So scared. He's so scary. That is not a success. Yeah, you think about doing that, and then like that absolute like knees turning to water panic that you haven't felt for years just sweeps over you again, and you can't bring yourself to move forward.
Oh, no, it's like high school.
Do you want to do something instead?
I'll shoot
Since
Muck.
you can't move forward, you're going to shoot Muck
Yeah.
with your crossbow?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so you can drop the spear and haul your crossbow up and let fly. Okay, a 6 is not a 6. The bolt goes wide, like slams into the chitinous wall behind Muck, and he kind of flinches and looks around and scowls in your direction, Astartus. Bad. And the priest now. Oh, this sucks. Not for the priest, for you guys. The priest turns to Thalus and glares, and is he going to do this again? I don't think he's going to do this again. I think he's just going to try to kill somebody. All right. I'm going to roll a die to see who he's going to kill. If it's a 1 through 3, he goes after Baldo, who just reneged on the deal that he was making with the sea demon. And if it's a 4 through 6, he goes after Thalus, who just tried to stab him. It's a 6, so Thalus it is. And Thalus, what is your armor class, please?
A shiny, powerful 14.
Most intimidating.
How about you roll another 6, Shane?
Try.
Or 2?
Okay, so instead that is a 16 total. And as he turns on you and reaches out, and his hand kind of touches you and sinks into you, and you feel this deathly chill starting to spread into your marrow for 12 points of damage.
Ouch.
And you need to make a Constitution saving throw.
10. Unless I have advantage in this 20.
All right, it is DC 10, so you're good. And,
But I have no hit points.
Right. Yeah. Well, good's a relative term. All right. So Thalus sinks to the ground, insensate, and rendered unconscious by the necrotic touch of this priest. Muck flaps up in the air to clamber up among the strange shadows of the ceiling, and I'll treat that as a disengage action, so he doesn't get stabbed because he's alert now to your evilness. And before you know it, he's like vanishes into the mud and muck of the stuff of the temple. And Astartus, it's your turn, and you can make another wisdom save.
All right.
I don't think I went last round.
Did you not?
I don't think so.
No, you didn't, because I got confused. I had the attack on Thalus, and then I treated that like it was Thalus's turn.
Yeah.
So that's my bad. So Muck is not vanished, and it's Key's turn. I'll wind that back a little bit.
I'm gonna cast Sacred Flame at the priest, which is a DC roll for him. DC 13 Dex.
Dex save. All right. He gets an 11 total, so he fails that. And what happens to him?
7 radiant damage.
All right. So the voice all around you kind of hisses and snarls in frustration and anger as the priest recoils away from that power. Are you moving anywhere this turn, Key?
No, I'm happy where I am.
Okay. All right, top of the round, and it's Baldo's turn.
My turn is extremely simple. I am going
Okay.
and hide behind the wall here.
Okay.
Or I should say stagger.
Okay.
Hobble?
Let's see. Thalus, make a death save, please.
Is that a constitution check?
No, it's just a raw D20 roll. 10 or better.
Nope.
No. Okay, so you've got on your character sheet, there should be a tracker to show failed death saves. Do they have that? Yeah, it's on the core sheet. If you're looking at that, next to your hit dice, underneath your hit points. So click the first of those failure circles. All right, and Muck now flaps up and blends into the scenery. And Astartus, now you can roll for that wisdom save to overcome your terror. 15 does it. All right, Astartus, you break the hold that terrifying power had on you. You can move wherever you like.
All right. Grab the javelin, since Thalus won't be needing it for a while, and toss it over to Key.
Okay. Now the javelin's over there with Key. All right, and you know what, Astartus, make a dexterity save for me, or an athletics check, whichever's better.
Athletics is better.
If it's a 13, so
wow.
Yeah. All right, so I'll say you still have an action ahead of you then, if you want to attack this priest or do something else.
All right, I'll stab him with a spear. It'll at least get his attention away from Thalus.
Okay. All right. Let's see it. Okay. You jam your spear into the priest, and it's not quite like stabbing a living thing. It's like there's some substance there, but not the substance of a living body.
It's like high school.
And let's see. So the priest now turns on Astartus, who's the latest one to stab him, and reaches out with his grasping, bony hands with a natural 1. So he does not grab you, and in fact, you know what, Astartus? I'm going to give you an opportunity attack against him.
Wow.
Because of him fumbling like that.
Hands to yourself.
Okay. So yeah, he reaches out for you and jams himself onto your spear again as it sinks into the floor. And he howls and spits curses at you, ectoplasm spattering. And Key, it is your turn.
All right, I'm going to do the same thing as last time and cast.
Aren't you going to study the javelin?
Oh, yes, that's what I was going to do. I'm going to study the spear.
All right. Okay, so you know what? You start looking the spear over, the javelin over. Make a religion check. It's not going to be an easy one.
Oh,
Yeah,
well.
you don't find the key yet. You're sort of looking through and racking your brains for what all these various symbols.
It's been a while since I took comparative religions.
Exactly.
Well, you open the pamphlet of instructions and you're on the French page.
French.
All right.
My worst language.
Top of the next round, and Baldo, it's your turn.
I will stick my head out from behind the cover and fire an arrow for all the good it will do.
Okay. At the priest?
Yeah, at the priest.
All right.
You never know. You might keel over.
I mean, Thalus is just laying there if you want an accidental sacrifice.
No, I'm going to shoot the priest.
Okay. All right. Yeah, your arrow sinks into him and beyond, and the priest sort of shimmers there. It's like almost like a fire that's guttering, trying to go out. Thalus, on your turn, you need another death save, rather.
Straight 20.
Yeah. Okay, so now mark that's a 16, which succeeds. So mark 1 success on that death track. And Astartus, it is your turn again.
All right. I keep stabbing, I guess.
All right. So you jam your spear into the priest again, and
Wow.
whatever hold that his half discorporate form had on the world seems to break, and with a gasp of deathly air, he fades into nothingness. And that's what happens.
I've almost got it figured out, everyone.
And that's it for, go ahead, Astartus.
Key, a little help here.
And Key, it's your turn.
I'm gonna cast the Sacred Flame at Muck.
Oh, wow.
But he's disappeared. No, I'm gonna change my mind. I'm gonna help my teammate.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to stabilize Thalus.
Run over there with Thalus. All right.
Yeah.
Is this a cure wound spell, or is this just stabilization? With
just a stabilization because I'm out of first level spells.
Oh, are you? Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Make a healing test then.
All right. Well,
not quite. No.
I tried.
You're trying, but it's like,
I trained in dwarf anatomy, and this elven anatomy is so confusing.
Right. And he wasn't even stabbed anywhere that you can suture.
Stop sticking your fingers in there.
Baldo, it's your turn.
I'm looking around. Now I'm going to make a perception check behind me. What this little area here? Is this an empty cave, or is there something in here?
Let's see. You find there's another shrine, and you see there are a few skeletons of long dead sea folk, arrayed out as if in ceremonial poses, and one of them on its bony finger, there's a beautiful coppery looking ring that is that's carved with this like a fish symbol, and there are gold pieces and silver pieces scattered all around.
All right, then. First things first. I pocket the ring.
Okay.
And then say, hey, everybody, there's gold and silver in here.
All right. Thalus, it is your turn to make another death saving throw.
He's stealing from you. Surely that will rise you.
That seems like that's doing the trick. That's a second success on the track. Baldo, from above you, you hear this voice say, "My pretties, mine."
Oh, I'm going to need a little help in here, guys. I look up. It's Muck, isn't it?
You can just barely make out his eyes staring at you from the slimy stuff of the ceiling.
All right. I say, Muck, do not come down here. It's very dangerous.
So okay, so he's holding his action, but he just hisses even more emphatically, "Mine." And
Okay.
Astartus, it's your turn.
Can I see Muck from here?
No, he's like there's this little side cave that Baldo went into.
All right, I will go answer Baldo's request for assistance.
Very good.
Okay. Yeah, so you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get into the entrance of that little side cave, and you see Baldo ahead of you, and you see the skeletons and the weird malformed shrine and the treasure. And roll perception for Astartus coming in there. Okay, yeah, you don't see where Muck is hiding. I mean, you can tell Baldo's looking up, so it's clearly up there somewhere, if that's what's going on. So, Astartus, do you have any actions you want to take, or do you want to use an action to dash and move all the way in there with Baldo? Or
I guess I'll dash all the way in, so at least he has the benefit of the shield.
Gotcha.
Oh, bless your heart.
All right. And that was Astartus. The Spectral Priest is not with us. And now it's Key's turn.
I'm going to roll medicine for Thalus again.
All right.
I'm not hoping.
Yet. Not yet. All right. Top of the round. Baldo. Muck is glaring at you.
I say to him, now look, we've been sharing our treasure with you. You have to share your pretties with us. And I'm going to try to persuade him to calm down. Come on, we're your friends. We've given you stuff.
All right, make a persuade roll. No, he just glares at you and is waiting to see if you depart.
I too
is in peace.
I too am going to hold action.
What's your held action?
If he darts down towards me, then I am going to rapier up at him.
Yeah, sorry, Baldo. I took a pot shot at him.
No, it's okay. He's probably mad because I put a ring in my pocket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. So Thalus, it's your turn. Another death save, I'm afraid. Oh, that's a failure. So that mark a second failed notch. Okay, this is getting interesting now.
It's the suspense that gets me.
Because if you fail the next one, you are unfortunately dead right there. Let's see. So I had Baldo. I had Baldo acting just now, and Thalus did that, and now it's all right. Now it's Muck's turn. So Muck leans out of the slime overhead, and inhaling as he does so, and then belches this avalanche of viscous mud all over Astartus.
No.
Astartus needs to make a dexterity saving throw, or be coated by this stuff and restrained. Is that a natural? That's a natural 1.
Yeah.
All right. Coated and restrained it is. And Astartus, it's your turn. Ordinarily, you could repeat that saving throw, or you can repeat it at the end of each of your turns. So you spend this turn restrained and covered in grossness. At the end of the turn, you can make another saving throw, but this is going to be at disadvantage because you failed that first one so spectacularly.
All right. Well, can I see him?
Yeah, he's within view now, but you're covered with mud, and it's holding you in place until you can wriggle free.
Okay, so I will just go ahead and try to wriggle free.
All right. Not yet. Not with that disadvantage. And all right. So Key, it's your turn now. You could save Thalus's life here.
I'm gonna try.
Anybody have inspiration floating around they could loan Key?
I spin it horribly. It seemed like a good idea at the time, and yet, in retrospect, it really wasn't.
Key, do you have any personality traits or, motivations, things like that really particularly speak to keeping Thalus alive?
But the closest that it gets to is I'm well known for my work and I want to make sure everyone appreciates it. But
that doesn't sound quite there.
That's not quite it. So no, all my motivations are related to me wanting money.
Right. Okay. All right. So you can try medicine again to stabilize him.
All right. Fingers crossed.
Person's death.
10 does it, believe it or not.
Yes.
Very good. So you start to think poor Thalus is going to linger after all, whatever the voices of his people are calling to his soul from afar.
He owes you lunch.
And he owes you lunch. Okay, Baldo, it's your turn.
How high is the ceiling where Muck was vomiting up goo?
About 20 feet.
Okay. All right. He's going to, you know what? I think I'm just going to go ahead and draw this out. I say oh, this is a bad idea. Okay. I'm going to say, no, Muck, they're my pretties. And I am going to run into the cavern and over here to the other mouth of the exit. And as I run into the room, I say, Muck monster on my tail in 3, 2.
All right. All right. So
that was just movement, and I'm gonna turn, and if he peeks out of this cave, then I'm gonna shoot him with an arrow.
Okay. All right. Let's see, Thalus, you don't have to make a death save anymore, but you're still unconscious until you regain a hit point somehow. Let's see. So, you know what? Muck is going to descend and come flapping down on top of Astartus and pounding on Astartus with his muddy fists.
That was not what you were supposed to do, Muck.
Let's see. That's a total of 19, which I think hits even Astartus's armor class.
Yep.
You shot him, didn't you?
I shot him.
2 points, only 2 points of damage, getting bludgeoned and battered for Astartus.
It hurts the ego so much more.
That's true. He hit you right in the ego. And Astartus, it's your turn, which means you're still restrained, but at the end of your turn now, you can repeat that saving throw to free yourself from the mud.
Let's go ahead and try that wriggling free again.
Mm-hmm. And then it will be Key's turn after that. No, that save is still too low. Good grief. So still stuck, despite being walloped. And Key, it's your turn. You've got Thalus stable. What now?
I can see Muck, right? No, Muck's in there with Astartus.
Yeah, you'd have to go into that cave to see.
All right.
It's very cramped in there.
I'll move to the mouth of the cave and then cast Sacred Flame.
Okay. All right. Is that a saving throw for him or an attack roll for you?
DC 13 Dex save.
That is a 12 total, so he does not succeed. And what happens to him?
4 points of radiant damage.
Okay. All right. So you hear Muck squawk, this kind of pained sound as you burn away a part of his mucky stuff. And at the top of the turn, it's Baldo again.
All right. Can I step forward and shoot over Key's head at Muck?
Yeah, I'll give him a minor armor class bonus for the obstacles in the way, but you can give it a shot.
Okay.
You'll only hit her if you fumble.
Be careful with that.
Ooh, a natural 20 is not a fumble.
Hoo-ha!
All right.
Nice.
So your arrow was at 9, so your arrow sticks right into Muck's body, and he kind of lets out this sudden shocked gasp and turns and stares in surprise. Then it's his turn. So Muck flaps up away from Astartus and up to the ceiling and then starts flying over your heads to get out of that little cave.
Okay.
And then it is Astartus' turn, which is spent being restrained, but at the end of that, can try that saving throw again.
All right. Third time's a charm.
And it is, in fact. You finally free yourself from the confines of the mud. And then it's Key's turn.
I'm going to Sacred Flame again.
Okay. That is lowly 6. So what's the damage?
6 points of radiant damage.
So he's kind of flopping awkwardly with the arrow in him, and he screeches out again in pain as you burn away some more of the stuff of him. And Baldo, it's your turn. Top of the next round.
Let's try another arrow. That worked out surprisingly well.
Okay. Not this time.
Not this time. Are you kidding me?
Opposite. The natural 1. So you draw the thing back, and the knot that held that string onto the bow unravels, and the bow kind of explodes in your hand as it loses its shape.
Yep.
And okay, so it's Muck's turn. So he's gonna he flaps and flaps and flaps out towards the exit. You know what? No, he's not. He's gonna descend and grab that javelin and turn. He turns and glares in pain at all of you and says, "These, my pretties." Astartus, it's your turn. You're back at the end of that cave. You freed yourself. Well, beyond Key and Baldo, Muck is on the ground, picking up the javelin and glaring at everyone.
I'll level my crossbow and say, you can have this too.
All right. Ooh, that's a good
wow.
roll. All right, so that was... Oh, I see. That's the +1 is if it's a critical, which you use the first one. So, okay, so your crossbow bolt slams into him, and he kind of lets out this gravelly wailing sound and starts trying to stagger back and escape, just barely keeping himself upright. And Key, it's your turn.
All right, I will Sacred Flame again.
Okay, he succeeds at the save that time.
I was too confident.
Okay, so you burn away some of the wall next to him. And top of the round is Baldo.
I am going to... Oh, it's a bad idea. I'm going to run and attempt to tackle Muck to keep him from flying. And,
interesting. Okay.
And I'm going to, if I can tackle him, I'm going to stab him with my dagger.
Okay. Well, you can choose to either tackle him and grapple him, in which case he'd be stuck there, or you can try to stab him with your dagger, one or the other.
Then I will do a third thing, which is make a rapier attack.
Okay.
Run forward and attempt to skewer our erstwhile truffle pig.
All right. And another critical hit. So, Baldo, you run your rapier straight through Muck's gullet, and his eyes kind of widen and gleam out at you in shock and fear, and then he explodes in a burst of sticky mud, and you need to make a dexterity saving throw.
All right.
Okay, that's good enough. So you're covered with muddy, mucky stuff, but not harmed by it and not restrained.
In the explosion, in the fragments of muck, do we see any of the jewels and the coins that he'd eaten?
Yeah, they're all there if you want to paw through his muddy, mucky remains.
Definitely.
I think that Aser, if you'll collect the gold and silver in that cave, I'll collect Muck's gold and silver. And Key, do you have anything you can use to get our friend back to a single hit point?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You would need like a healing cantrip if there is such a thing.
Yeah, I think that's my... My problem is I have Sacred Flame, Guidance, and Light.
All right. I don't have the medicine skill and don't want to risk it because of my propensity for sticking people in the eye when I'm trying to do them a favor.
Can I roll medicine again to get him hit points back?
Well, no. I mean, if you had done a critical success with that last roll, then that would have stabilized him and awakened him with 1 hit point.
All right,
But
then.
once you succeed, he's stable, and that's as good as you're going to get with medicine for the time.
Well,
being.
then let's make him comfortable and guard him while his elvish constitution hopefully brings him around. And what better way to help bring him around than by counting all the gold and silver and gems that we've just harvested from this little irritant?
Can we check the other caves?
Yeah, each of them, in fact, has some hideous shrine and even greater and greater treasures.
Oh, and I will take the time to smash the altars.
The hideous shrines. All right.
Yeah.
Now broken hideous shrines. Baldo, you feel a deep, instinctive longing to cut Thalus's throat.
Then I am going to sit over here and use my paltry skills to look at this, look at the javelin and see if I can decipher its secrets.
All right. So we can
intelligence.
We can kind of come out of instant by instant combat time.
Yes.
So you're going to collect up all the treasures that you can lay your mitts on, I assume.
Yes.
And then pick up Thalus and haul him and walk your ways. Is there more exploring for you to do, or are you heading straight to the exit at this point?
Not until our companion is revived. We want to make sure that he's at least alive. I guess actually, you know what? Let's pull him out. Let's get out of here once we've gotten all the treasure.
Does a short rest give hit points?
With a short rest, you can spend a hit die and gain hit points. Yes.
Why don't we take the short rest here, just in case there's any more surprises?
Yeah.
Okay.
And while I'm taking a short rest, I'll examine the javelin.
All right. Sure. So you can make a religion check. What Baldo, pardon me, did you write down what languages you know?
No, I assumed I only know Zyirran.
Okay. Let's see. Hold on, I'm trying to remember. I wanted to do a whisper thingy here.
Oh, and thieves
and
thieves can, of course.
You have the thieves can't thing, and then right. Okay. So yeah, you can attempt a religion check. No, that's not going to be good enough for this function, unfortunately.
Okay.
You kind of have some ideas for it, but none of them feels like it. You try out an incantation based on what you think one of those runes means, and none of it feels quite right.
I also spend a hit die and regain 4 hit points for a total of 5. So I'm a little bit better than I was before.
Okay.
After a short rest, can I try history to see if I've read anything that might be able to help us figure out this javelin?
Yeah, and in fact, Thalus, as you start to slowly come around, you gain an additional 2 temporary hit points, but you take 1 point of damage as you have to kind of tear yourself free of these tendrils and barbs that had grown up underneath you and leached into your flesh. And Thalus, make a roll a d20 for me, because you hit 0 hit points, so it's your time to get the house rule of doom. 12 is all right. So a horrible scar. Your brush with evil death has left you disfigured to an extent that can't be concealed. So you're going to have henceforth disadvantage on persuasion checks and advantage on intimidation checks.
Cool.
If you run across some really powerful kind of magical healing, you could potentially get that healed. But until then, that's what's in there. So make a note of that somewhere.
Okay.
And decide what that looks like. And let's see. So looking it over, yeah, it would be this. This is a religion check you're looking for to kind of decipher the runes and remember what incantation, what prayer is the one to draw power out of this this thing.
Can I roll a check again now that we're not in the middle of battle?
Nah, you already made one attempt, unfortunately.
Okay.
So, let's see. Thalus, did you want to make that religion check, or did you already do that? I don't know. No, it looked like you didn't.
16.
So, in Samaran lore, the god Zyirran, the Thunderer, is the storm god, gods of storms and thunder and rain, mountains, trees, strength, defeating monsters, defeating evil spirits. The legends say that he lost an eye and a hand binding Tiamat into the underworld, the great dragon of chaos and the abyssal deeps. And there's a series of those runes that you recall representing a cry to invoke the power of Zyirran the Thunderer. It runs. It's in the Samaran language, but runs. The gist of it is, something like lightning smites the mountains, and once you sort of mutter that, you don't see anything, but it's like you feel the javelin humming almost. It's not a physical vibration, but it's like the thing came alive momentarily.
All right, that's cool.
At this point, you can count your treasures and decide what are you heading out, or are you exploring the last bits of this place?
Gang?
I'm gleefully overconfident. Let's go explore.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
I've got 5 hit points.
Bless your hearts. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look at the thing we haven't looked at yet.
Can we find out how much money we have first?
Sure. Yeah. You had plenty of time to count that list. Did somebody write down how much you extracted out of Muck?
No, we didn't get that. What was it? Chris, you have a ledger for our stuff, don't you?
I'm on it right now.
You are the man. Outstanding.
I think it was something along the lines of 22 or 28 gold pieces.
All right.
Plus a gem that he had snarfed up from the shrines here.
I'm taking
with
it
the
as
blessing
28,
of the
by the way.
priest. It was
Got
28.
all that.
No, I say I'm gonna. If you said 22 or 28, I'm taking 28.
That's fine.
There's okay, so that plus the gem that he snarfed.
Yeah.
Right. So let's put it this way. There's the 22 gold that you got out of Muck.
that we gave him, I guess. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you got back from Muck.
Right.
So wait,
And
is it 22 or is it 28?
Okay, 28. Sorry. And this giant list I'm about to read you. So if somebody's writing it down, now's a good time to take notes.
Go for it.
It adds up to about 1,000 silver pieces of various coinages and denominations and shapes and sizes, 700 gold pieces, 60 platinum pieces,
Wow.
2 precious lustrous pearls that you'll eventually piece together are worth 200 apiece. 4 sculptures of silver, gold, and marble, worth 20, small, but worth 25 gold pieces each. A small flask carved with a symbol of one of the life gods of the distant Sunlands that has some draft within it that smells just smells wholesome and reviving, and a small flask that's carved with a symbol of a war god, one of the bloody, murderous war gods of the distant north, that has some spicy smelling brew within it that kind of raises your spirits and makes your blood rise when you smell it.
Okay.
Got it.
As long as we're cataloging things, I pull the ring out of my pocket and hold it out in my hand and go, found this on the shrine too. Didn't want to put it on.
Oh, now you have to.
I look at Astartus and say, I don't know. Sometimes these things have a way of boomeranging on you.
Yeah, but it'd be funny.
All right, look. If I fall into some sort of eternal sleep, you have to promise me you'll take the God of Life flask over there and dump it down my throat.
Yep.
I promise we'll have Astartus kiss you.
All right. That's not what I agreed to, and I slipped the ring on my finger.
All right. Nothing substantial happens.
Okay.
It's you think you feel slightly different, but then again, maybe not, because that fades very quickly. You don't pass out, you don't vanish. The world doesn't change around you.
So I ask Key, I say, do you think you could put a value on this based on the copper and the carving?
Oh yeah, I mean, maybe a few gold pieces as a piece of jewelry. Say 5 gold pieces max.
I'll hold on to this until we know what it does.
All right. One more cave.
Yes, and so the cave treasures.
Yeah, that was all in.
Okay, that was everything.
That list,
great.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal.
Okay, I thought he just hit Muck and he exploded like a piñata.
Oh, no, that didn't all come out of Muck.
All right, that was everything. Okay, good deal. All right, so which one of these fingerlings have we not investigated?
All of these little caves that come off of the cave where you encountered the priest, you've gone in and explored. Each of them had its own hideous shrine and its own treasures, and that's what you've just finished counting.
I would like to sacrifice the chicken in this area before we leave.
Okay.
As she takes the chicken out of the cage, I go, wait a minute. They were very clear about this. They want human blood.
Or
Human
elf.
blood?
Or dwarf.
Ah, shoot.
Yeah, the chicken's not going to do it.
We spelt a lot of elven blood.
Yeah, and we spelt a lot of
Actually-
Baldo blood, too.
Actually, there was little to no elven blood spilled.
All right. We mostly
That's
spelt
true.
Baldo blood.
I think I've bled in every cave in this godforsaken crypt. Surely we've satisfied some sort of edict.
Baldo, you hear a voice whispering in your head that nobody else can hear that says, "You have not."
Oh, all right. I'm feeling kind of queasy. We should probably just leave.
Okay.
I feel like I've held up my end of the oath that I would lead a sacrifice of blood and death, even
All
if
right.
they disagree.
Well, if you want to kill the chicken, I won't stand in your way.
I'm going to do it.
Okay. It's noisy, as killing chickens usually is, but not for very long.
That poor chicken.
And afterward, it's just you and a dead chicken.
All right. Well,
Nothing strange happens.
Save that for dinner later.
Okay. All right. So describe what you're after. It looks like on the map Thalus is venturing out up the slope, and
I'll follow the elf and let him retrace our steps since he knows how to do stuff like that.
okay.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. So yeah, Thalus, if you're in the lead, kind of give us a sense of what you're doing and where you're going. You
I'm
can
just
see
gonna-
the map there.
I'm just gonna beeline it directly back, avoiding any of the caves or anything that we haven't been.
You're heading for the exit.
Yeah, I thought that's what we agreed to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's up to y'all. All right. So yeah, in that case, you don't run into any trouble getting to the exit. You bring yourselves across the threshold and into the sunlight, and you may have it may have occurred to you as you're climbing up to the open air that the sunlight and the sea air were going to feel cleaner and warmer and revive you. And as you come out into the sunlight, it's just kind of scorching hot and oppressive, and you still have this sense all around you of this lurking menace.
So now that we're out, I said out loud in the cave that good news, I've decided to pledge my troth. Yeah, they took that seriously. So it's entirely possible that there's something still down there and that we didn't clean it out, and I may still be on the hook for a sacrifice. I look very quickly at everybody and go, oh, don't worry. I was never gonna, but just so you know, I don't think I'm done with this place yet.
Well, I guess that's the next best thing to job security around here.
So let's make our way back to the ship. Oh, hey, before we get back to the ship, is there any of this treasure that we'd like to keep for ourselves?
I think that would be tempting fate.
So we're going to let them stake an equal share then, yes?
What?
Yes.
No,
No.
not the ship's crew. They didn't do anything.
Well, I thought as part of our going up there, we got the lion's share, but they still get a share.
I think the agreement was sharing with the captain.
Yeah, and then the captain would divvy up that with the crew.
Mm-hmm.
But so we're getting I think we're getting one half of the treasure. The captain gets the other half, and the captain gets to dispense her half.
No,
that wasn't it.
I don't remember signing on for that.
Yeah.
If
How
anything,
about
it's equal
Dungeon Master,
shares.
was that not what we talked about?
That was the deal.
I was there when she made it. I recall this.
I was thinking we would all be dead, so I guess I wasn't negotiating in earnest.
Well, then let me suggest that we keep those vials. I'll keep the ring, and if we want to put anything off to the side for our, let's call it retirement, we should do that before we make our way back to the ship. There's plenty of gold here to go around, so I think as long as we're not greedy,
I'm going to hold on to this javelin.
Okay. Very good. Yes, the javelin is a perfect example.
Yeah. And she can't complain, just normal javelin. How about the statues and the pearls?
I want a pearl.
I think the statues and the pearls are a perfect example of things we should keep.
Yeah. They don't jingle.
Right.
All right. I'm going to make a separate slot that also has party loot, basically, that we're keeping.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All of you also have a link to the sheet, by the way.
Yes.
We love the transparency in banking. It's something that we're not used to in America.
It's not like I'd slip a ring in my pocket.
I only did that because I was afraid to put it on and fall into a coma.
Also, he was baiting Buck.
That came afterwards.
Or you might have put it on and turned invisible.
Well, but see, you don't ever know with rings. Sure, it could be a ring of water breathing. It could also be a ring of cursed luck. So I just wanted to make sure that it was secure, and then I would have told everybody about it. I'm only dishonest with other people. With the people that I'm honest with, I'm honest.
All right, so make a count of how much you're showing Captain Harrion and then divvying in half with her.
Are we also pocketing the gem
from the shrine?
Yeah, the one that Buck ate.
Let's this is what I suggest. I suggest we keep the 2 pearls.
Let me read to you what we've already said we're keeping, and then we'll talk about it. Baldo's holding onto that ring from the altar. We are keeping both of the luxurious pearls. I think the sculptures will be hard to keep, but someone said sculptures. 2 small flasks and the javelin.
How small are the sculptures?
Sort of. You could hold one easily in one hand.
Huh. It seems like the sort of thing that he might be able to carry without anyone noticing. I don't know. Do you want to? What do you think?
I'm going to put one of the sculptures in my backpack.
Yeah, same here.
They're 25 gold pieces each.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
So everyone's dropping one in their backpack.
Yep. It sounds like it. Are
Cool.
you?
Yeah, we're in it together. So, but basically, we're giving them slightly over 1,000 gold pieces, slightly over 700 gold pieces.
Right.
And
we're going to get half of all that back.
Yeah.
Right.
Like we still don't have prices for the golden helmet from the third session, or one of the necklaces, or an actual price for the gem itself from the shrine.
Oh, I can dig that stuff up here now that we're counting it all up. There was a thin gold necklace that was worth 15 gold pieces.
Got it.
There were 2 silver rings
There were 10
that
each.
were worth 10 apiece. There was a helmet with gold inlay, which both serves as a helmet and is worth 20 gold pieces.
And the gem from the shrine's last thing we're missing.
That would have been one of the one of those pearls. It turned out.
Okay. So 200. Gotcha.
And Muck also, in addition to the things that he gobbled up that from you guys, in his remains were also another 8 gems on average worth 10 gold pieces each.
So each of us can have 2 of those.
Like, I'm all for taking money, but somewhere we've got to draw the line if we're gonna.
Well, it just this stuff seems highly portable, and then we show up with a giant chest, a giant duffel bag of gold.
Maybe we should leave 1 or 2 of the statues just so it's like, of course we found some bigger things.
All right, I will give up a statue, or the statue I was going to hide away.
You could also
might.
put the helmet in there as well.
Oh yeah.
Well, we never took the helmet.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think we'd probably be better off holding the sculptures or whatever and letting them have the 8 small gems.
Okay.
Fair.
All right then. We'll put the 8 small gems in, and so everybody gets a statue.
Yep.
So what do you, when you get out to the ship, your crewmates see you coming, and there's a cheer as they see that you're all still alive.
I'm glad they care.
Yeah, and so once you meet with Captain Harrion, what all are you spreading out on the table?
All of the coins.
Yep.
So I dropped the link into the chat window, and it's broken down by session, and party loot is what we're not putting on the table.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So so she you kind of eat, you go back and forth with the things that you're sharing, and so you can take the half of each, or rather the half of what you're sharing with her, and transfer that down into party loot.
Okay.
Right, and then consider the rest of it having giving it to the captain.
Gotcha.
So while we're still here, and I'm assuming that we're going to spend one more night as things are being divvied and tales are being told. Mm-hmm. I have 3 fist-sized pieces of coral from the shrine. And as we are at the fire, drinking grog and eating food, I will pull one of these pieces out and say a variation of this. Gather round, lads and lasses. We've told you the tales of the sea demon's shrine, and we have shown you such sights and treasures that you've not seen in many a day. But let me tell you, this is from the altar of the sea demon himself, And this saved our lives. This is lucky coral. Now, I've got a piece for myself, but I actually have another piece on me. And I just saved it in case one of you might want a little extra luck.
Yeah, make a salesmanship roll.
All right.
Lucky you're not all scarred up like poor Thalus.
So,
all right,
Shane,
so what's
Shane,
that? Yeah.
And I want to run something past you. What I'm thinking is,
Okay.
since how I got the wound is really not so much a scar, I would almost want
Yeah.
it to be that I look fairly normal unless you start talking to me, and then every so often in a conversation you catch glimpses of like my skeletal frame under it.
God, that's creepy.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, write that down. That's interesting. Like as soon as you start trying to be charming, the
Like
worse it
as
gets.
soon as I like start engaging with someone more than sort of like a passing encounter, you catch like glimpses of it.
Behold,
Right.
death.
Wow.
But your friends here are cool with it. So that's why you're
sure.
loyal to them.
We know what it's. We know how he got it.
Uh-huh.
That's
We
the
also
old,
know not to look directly at him.
right. So we're going to be the ones going, oh, you just have to get to know him.
Uh-huh.
And look a little to the right.
Yeah, that sounds like a cool idea. Yeah.
That's a very cool idea.
All right. So
Doesn't
Baldo,
look like
yeah, you get.
takers.
Well, you get a little bit of haggling from some of the more rubish of the rubes, and so that'll you wind up getting I'll call it. Some of these guys just got paid, so I'll say you managed to get the haggling up to 22 gold pieces for your lucky piece of coral.
Wow. He struck while the iron was hot.
As long as, well, sure. I've got, a good storyteller uses the environment to his advantage. All right. So,
and Baldo, as you hand the coral over and are counting your gold pieces, you hear this whisper in the back of your head that says, "Thou art mine."
Well, I'm going to go drink myself into a stupor. It's been fun, gentlemen. Have a wonderful evening here on the coast. Oh boy, this is not good.
All right. So the next day, the Heart of Iron sets off, having done its repairs, and sets off from the accursed island, and you slowly leave that rising, jagged spire behind you in the distance as it until it sinks below the horizon of the waves. Then the ship drifts blows into cleaner waters and cleaner airs to come.
This episode of Arc Dream Presents was recorded on Zoom and Roll20. Special thanks to Mark Finn, Chris Spivey, Aser and Megan Tolentino, and Shane Ivey. Links to their work can be found in this episode's show notes. If you enjoyed this episode of Arc Dream Presents, be sure to subscribe and give us a rating on iTunes or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. This episode's music is 5 Armies by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com under Creative Commons. Visit filmmusic.io. For more information about the Swords and Sorceries series, visit swordsandsorceries.com. Arc Dream Presents episodes are produced and edited by Rachel K. Ivey of A Minor Film School and are copyright Arc Dream Publishing.